talking about Nivan, and it's this next generation event that has been organized, and we are here with Niketa. She is the founder, the inceptor, the inventor, the progenitor, and facilitator of the next generation of the past, present, and future of where everything might go from here on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Niketa, what made you want to create Nivan, and where did this idea actually come from?
I think that we are standing here in 2026, and every other company is intentionally going at faster speed than we can catch on, especially with the introduction of AI and all this, right? The challenge I'm finding I've been in this industry for a long time, and the decisions I'm watching people make, they are very forward-looking, which is good, but sometimes they are reactive. I would like people to pause, question their assumptions, and also reflect on how did we get here? What are the decisions we're making today? And then leap forward into the future. That's where Nivan came to be and how we are actually thinking about past, present, and future.
Got it. Yeah, worthy cause. And why? Why structure all of this around this multiversal notion of past, present, and future? I mean, what was the inception of that? What was the idea? Why would you do that?
Because I believe that decisions which leaders are making today, they are not only rooted into what innovation looks like tomorrow, but they are rooted into what have we learned from the past, how we got here, and learn the lessons from that, which is going to help us carry forward into the future.
I mean, I can see where you're going, and I understand the context behind the past and the present. Can you give an example of how something like that would pay forward with the attendees of this conference?
Yeah, I think if you think about AI in general, people seem to think that AI is new and AI is just landed because of the media and social media, all of them. But if you look at in the past, AI is not new. I was working at 3E Healthcare in 10 years ago, where we generated and invented AI algorithm to detect pneumothorax. But at the time, people were sure AI is not going to be taking the jobs. And now, if you think about it, people are sure AI is going to take the job over, right? The evolution has happened because the technology is starting to catch up, and the ecosystem of the society is also trying to catch up to say, oh, it's possible. With the millions of computational power which we have today,
right,
which wasn't there before. But the basic instinct of designers, leaders, innovators, of where is the innovation coming from, is from human. I would like every leader to pause and say, okay, how did we get here? What lessons have we learned in the past? And understand today's technology, where we stand today, ChatGPT and Anthropic and Cloud of the World, and understand, then make the leap into the future by pausing and reflecting and making the right decisions.
Interesting. My kids always talk about all of these things in terms of unlocks.
Yeah.
What's the unlocks that you see out of this conference, given what you're talking about, this convergence of the past, the lessons of the past, the realities of the present, and the potential of the future?
I think I want people who are going to be attending the event to take away with two unlocks. Number one, clarity in their mind. Clarity of the decisions they would make in order to make better decisions for their products, better decisions for their customers, and better decisions for their companies. And second is responsibility. Responsibility in terms of let's not jump into the assumption that AI is giving you the right answer, but rather try to understand where the human judgment is needed. Slow down, understand the noise and the signals it's giving us, and walk away at Nivan with understanding how to detect those noises, how to detect those signals, so that someone can pause, question their assumptions, and then move forward with the decisions along with AI.
What? Why is that valuable?
Because if we just only rely on AI to make the decisions for us, where is the human judgment in that? Data in is data out. What we feed into AI is what the decisions are going to be. Today, most of the algorithms and answers you get on ChatGPT is actually fed by Reddit or WebWord. And those answers are actually fed by other humans and whatnot, right? So pause for that. Understand what AI is answering it to you. Is it the right answer for you? And then move on with the clarity and signals in your mind before you make a decision for your product and innovation.
Good. Okay, let's make it a little bit more real. Putting you a little bit on the hot seat now. What's the conversation happening in the industry right now that Nivan is directly responding to?
Wow, it's a great question. I think what's happening today is industry is going at a speed in which I want people to, and I don't want to pass that, but I also want to make sure that that speed is being caught on in a way that if people are actually understanding what are they sacrificing. And I believe that speed is being sacrificed in the exchange of judgment. Is it the right judgment? Is it the wrong judgment? Those are the questions we are going to be unfolding at Nivan.
So there's speed, and then there's judgment. And, I was personally curious about this. Whenever I think about product, I think about user experiences, and I think about innovation, it's always around the two vectors of risk and potential. How do you see that working in your canvas of speed and judgment?
Risk. I think Nivan is there not to answer all the questions, but question the assumptions people have.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I am not claiming that the conference is going to solve everything for everyone. However, I do think by coming to Nivan, people are going to question their own assumptions and the type of thought process they have been taken so far. And after Nivan, if someone goes back and pauses before making a decision, maybe in favor of AI or not in favor of AI, that's where the success of Nivan is going to.
Sure. Okay. You've got a couple more questions here. What makes Nivan not just another day full of panelists and keynotes that have been assembled together and then everybody just hoping that they'll get something meaningful out of it?
Yes. And this is where Nivan is going to be different. Nivan is not there. Most of the conferences that you go to, you're expecting to be inspired. At Nivan, expect to be actually having a provocative talks. Nivan is meant to question the assumptions, as I mentioned before. Nivan is there to actually understand the tension right now happening in the economy, in the world, in the product development.
Oh, wow. So this is not just another shiny object or innovation theater type of conference.
Yes.
What I'm hearing from you and what I'm getting excited about is that this is actually a provocation.
Provocation. Yes.
And within a provocation is where you could start to think about and challenge what I was saying, risk against potential. And that is amazing.
And it's also the format of Nivan. I will mention that it's not a typical keynote. It's not a typical panel discussion. Nivan is actually designed, for example, Creator Duel is designed to have a debate live on the stage with two people. Human judgment versus AI assisted, or craft versus scale. I'm expecting to have a tension on the stage. I'm expecting to people have goosebumps and the audience. Nivan is also meant to actually reflect, pause and reflect through our exercises of time capsule and message to the future. where every attendee would have an opportunity to pause, reflect, predict what time is going to pass in next year, what they want to be reminded of in 2 years' time. And so it's not a typical conference where you're going there and next day you're going to have all the answers to yourself. But what you're going to have is, hey, how was I making decisions until now? Should I pause and make it decisions different?
Well, I was intrigued by the notion of time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm now just beginning to understand what the thesis is on it, given this trade show. So you're right. The way I'm beginning to understand this is the conference is not just about another AI conference or another innovation conference. What I'm hearing is that it's basically the intersection of past, present, and future. But you're also saying that this captures the zeitgeist as we currently stand, and it's something that we can actually, in the future, go back to.
Yes,
to begin to understand. Can you unpack a little bit more in terms of how you're viewing the time capsule and the value this brings?
The idea behind time capsule is, I was always fascinated when I was little to always have some sort of things in the time capsule and open it some years later to see. Always had that nostalgia feeling. It's like, oh my God, did I do that? And I wanted to bring that here today, especially in the times of technology moving so forward. And right now, the way I'm seeing the industry unfolding, many roads to AI, many roads to product innovation, many roads to agentic experiences. So I want everyone to pause and say, Carlos, what do you expect? What do you predict AI will take us in 2027? The idea is we are going to accumulate all the answers, and next year's conference, we are going to open these time capsules up and see what are some of the predictions and have they come out right.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And then that also sounds like, a very interesting mirror for how this industry that we're in continues to evolve. Okay, let's
Back to the Future predicted that in 2025, we're going to have some jackets, Nike jackets, which will fit into your shape and whatnot. That is a time capsule, and that hasn't happened yet. Still waiting for it to happen. So I'm hoping that our audience will have a better prediction model, which will open up something, unlock something next year.
But I'm both a futurist and a geek. So to me, the time capsules are things like Star Trek or the Jetsons. If you want to, for some people in the audience, people may not know what the Jetsons are, but in terms of all of that, it's like those are all reflections and mirrors of what could be. And we look back and there's hits and errors.
Yes,
that. So I love that and appreciate that. And I think I'm going to parlay the topic on this. And this is my last question. There's going to be the next generation of thought leaders, practitioners, coming from up the ranks. So you've got students and emerging senior practitioners, and then they're going to be part of this.
Yes.
How do you make it useful for both? Because those are very different use cases, Niketa.
They are very different use cases. And I think what I'm very excited about is not only what is going to be useful for them, but what can we actually learn from that. Seriously, I do want to learn from them. I do think the next generation of digital leaders do have a different mindset than me and you do. I do think that there is something to be learned from. But to answer your question, I think students are going to learn about overall where the industries are going, and seniors are going to actually talk about their lived experiences and how they came to be. I really want today's generation to learn from the past, more importantly, than actually focus on the future, because they haven't lived that. We have lived that. And I want them to learn from the veterans and digital veterans of the world to say, how did we innovate in the past?
Right.
And what are some of the fundamentals of those principles these students can walk to and walk with?
So again, I think what you're beginning to outline is the emergence of a zeitgeist from our current state of practitioners and then the next generation. And it's about enabling this shared intellectual ground by which they can build new platforms.
That's correct. And I think today, yes, they can YouTube anything they want or TikTok, anything they want. But I really want to create a platform at Nivan where they can come and learn from the actual innovators of how did they innovate in the past when there was no AI or there was no technology emergency like happening. How did they innovate? What tools they had they can actually take on and innovate with those, plus their TikTok of the world.
All right. Well, that was my last question, but I want to close on this. I am humbled and honored to be talking to you about this today. What I'm taking away from this is that Nivan is not a conference. What I'm taking away from this and the way you're speaking about it is that it's the start of a movement to me. And it gives the various practitioners from yesterday to today to tomorrow, a way to ensure that they are responsible in terms of innovation and that they can apply the right rigor, the right candor, and the right level of personal and enterprise investment responsibly.
I was just going to say that. Yes, the responsibility. That's a very key word especially for today's generation because they're moving very fast. Nivan is a place to slow down, reflect, understand where we came from, what is happening today, and then step into the future.
And what does Nivan mean?
Ni stands, it's actually derived from a Sanskrit word.
Ni.
And Ni stands for clarity, and Van stands for moment.
Clarity in the moment. Well, I think with that, thank you for taking some time.
Thank you so much, everyone.
We appreciate it.
And thank you, Carlos, for hosting.
This has been
I just want to say thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely.
And thank you for emceeing Nivan. I am so excited to see you on stage and entertain the crowd and actually engage the crowd. I'm very excited for you to be here, and I'm very grateful that you've joined us.
Oh, I am humbled, and given what I've learned about what Nivan is from past, present, and future, and where it's going, I'm excited. This is a true honor to be here, and to me, emceeing is not about being a host.
Yeah,
it's about being a facilitator.
Yeah,
that's all I want to do.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you your Simon Sinek question, which is, what drew you to this opportunity and why?
Well, I do a lot of conferences. My background is user experience. I've been doing this for far too long. Over 20, almost 30 years. Fun is that unlike other conferences that I've attended in AI and next generation UX, in digital commerce, and what all of this stuff means and where is it all going, is that majority of those shows are fundamentally about products that are being born and brought into market. So if you go to, I'm not going to name names of these types of shows, you go to one of these larger conferences with shows, it's a product display for it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a sprinkling of keynotes and thought leaders there, but they're very oriented against disparate agendas.
Yeah.
And what drew me to Nivan is three things. One, it's centered around the UX community. Two, it's about making sure that we recognize the past, calibrate it against the present, and help enable the future. And to me, that is more than just a trade show. As we've chatted about in the past, to me, that signals a movement.
Yes.
And, as I was outlining before, emceeing for me is not just about hosting a show. It's about facilitating and enabling the provocations that make us all better practitioners. And my third bit of why I'm mostly excited and definitely invigorated by this is that nobody's done this before. And I commend the effort, I commend the thinking, and what I'm excited about is what fruits this will bear as you bring it forward.
You're giving me goosebumps. Well, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. I love sometimes it's one thing to put the vision out there, and it's second thing to hear that vision from someone else reflecting back to you. So I'm very honored. Thank you. Why are you the right person to facilitate day?
I'm not. And that's okay. A great facilitator is not about credentials or background or story or things that they have accomplished. Those are table stakes. And I've done some interesting things, and I've been very honored and enabled by some of the accomplishments, but that's not what this is about. To me, I would have done my job if people walk away from Nivan feeling like they can enable their own thought processes and be more responsible about where they could take their individual visions, whether it be for their career, for their enterprise, for their product, or their gift to the next generation humanity. Because at this inflection point, that's really what we're looking at. So I am nothing but a lightning rod for a zeitgeist that it's in through. And I hope that I am effective enough in channeling that message.
I think Carlos is being very humble and modest here, but I do know for a fact that you are the right facilitator for this, because not only the industry knowledge of user experience you bring, but from the short time I know you are quite energetic and you have a lot of topics and a lot of things to talk about. And I do think that you are the right facilitator for this. I'm very grateful. But on the room, when you're bringing together designers, AI people in the same space.
Oh, all right. So I help run a digital agency, right? It's about 11 years old. And I grew up as a user experience practitioner. When I started in this industry, I was a webmaster. This was, the birth of the .com.
Yeah.
And, from that, I became a new media specialist, where I was putting assets on CD-ROMs and distributing it to, various audience members so that, they don't have to look all of this stuff up in binders. I became an information architect.
Oh, wow.
For those in the industry who's been in this for a long time, there's this book called Information Architecture, and it's by O'Reilly, and it's got a polar bear on it. And that's where modern HCI practices and thinking sort of stem from. At any rate, that's all tangents. I've been through the cycles. I've worn many hats. I've been a designer. I've been a coder. I've been a database specialist. I've been a digital strategist, and, this is just yet another inflection point of the evolution of the craft. And the craft, at the end of it, is human-computer enablement, right? So when you bring AI, next generation people in a room with UX and designers and creatives, what you're going to see is initially some tension, right? There's a fear of, is AI going to take my job? Are these people who are representing it going to be the acceleration of my demise as a designer?
Yeah.
Am I getting commodified? And where do I put my stake in the ground, my flag on the hill to keep myself relevant? Right. So, from a design and UX standpoint, that's some of what those practitioners might feel. And the flip side, it is the avant-garde of AI practitioners. And there's, some of us have been doing it in different fields for 30 years, who are applying and coalescing, AI, prompt engineering, vibe coding, digital strategy development. And yes, we're new guard, but we're also old practitioners who are taking on some new things here. And then there's the other side of that spectrum who are completely new.
Yeah.
You were talking about students,
right?
You're talking about early entrants, people who are going through their masters and taking their HCI degrees, or I have a bunch of mentees, history majors, sociology majors, who are now going, well, I kind of want to get involved with AI because I've seen the power of it. They're going into this field that has been built historically with data scientists and computer science majors. And UX has been part of that, but now they can take the power of what AI can unlock and bring it to bear in a very fast way. So their tension is they're looking at the old guard. Yeah. It takes you how long to do this? And, you pour so much into your craft, but what I can produce in 3 hours versus the 3 weeks you spent on it is actually comparable. So what's the tension? The tension is evolution.
Evolution, yeah.
And what side of it am I on? Now, here's where it gets interesting. It's both. I think if you're the old guard side and on the new guard side, if we can find our middles, and instead of looking at it as an us versus them, or you versus, and you look at it as a we, and looking at the next horizon saying, what can you do together with AI, with the next version of technology, with quantum, with robotics, with name the tech, and we fill in each other's ranks.
Yeah.
And something magical will happen. And this is what I mean by that. I see Nivan as more than a conference. It's a point in time where you take the zeitgeist of that tension and set the stage to align all the players, all the different practitioners, all the different ranks of their seniority,
right?
Basically say, look, we're not here to press anybody down. If we look towards the next horizon, think about the potential of what we can achieve with AI, with each other, then you have a movement.
Yes.
And that's how I see that tension potentially being resolved.
I do totally agree with that. And in addition to that, I would add that having students and having even senior digital veterans who are in the industry to just look at a couple of decades back and take that learning in the evolution,
right,
and understand the tension,
right,
as well, would add to the power of the decision making.
Yeah, and to me, and if I can build on that, that tension.
Yeah.
So what makes diamonds?
Yeah.
It's pressure.
Pressure.
Right. And what makes really good diamonds, the high quality, super high clarity, that truly shines. It's compounding pressure.
Right.
And that's actually where we're at.
Yeah.
Now, are there going to be winners or losers against all of this. That's part of what we need to talk about in the conference.
Yeah.
People talk about a K-shaped economy emerging out of this. That's real. And, if I do my job as the MC, I'm not going to shy away from those topics, but rather facilitate the conversation so that it's not about us versus them, you versus me. It's about what can we do to make sure that we all advance forward. But is it going to be clean? Is it going to be equitable? Is it going to be sustainable? We actually don't.
We don't.
We don't know. But if we talk about it, we have a shot at co-creating a version of the future where all of us can contribute.
Love that answer. Last question. What's the hardest part being facilitating the room full of students as well as digital veterans, designers, research, cross-industry, and
technologists? Let's get our developers and our technologists, engineers,
product leaders,
right?
Full of people with diverse industries and diverse background. How would you bring them together?
Well, as an MC and as a facilitator, my job is not to say this is the way.
Yeah.
My job is to enable the conversations between them. And then we can start seeing the fabric being built by the community in real time. And from there, that is how you actually bring the community forward so that they can make an impact. If I do my job right on your behalf, and if you do your job right with Nivan and what it seeks to unlock, people walk away having made connections. People walk away thinking differently. But most importantly, people walk away and walk towards what's next.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean by that.
I do know. I really want them to walk away with questions they should be asking themselves rather than expecting answers to solve for them.
I've always said the best way to design a system or to design an experience is to understand the problem that's being solved.
Yes.
And that's all this.
That's what Nivan is about, is to actually sit in the problem enough that you unlock the answer. But that's it in the problem. And Nivan is where you sit in the problem.